And obviously, Sinophobia really spiked during the pandemic. It's a few years since the pandemic, but do you still feel that there is this undercurrent of anti-Chinese sentiment growing in the UK?
Absolutely. I don't think it's gone away since the pandemic has died down. If anything, I think it's been bolstered by the hostile environment that's been created by this government, the hostile environment that's perpetuating sort of all these lies and disinformation about, the fear of Chinese spies or Chinese this or Chinese that. And at the end of the day, the only people it ends up actually negatively impacting is the Chinese community and Chinese people who end up being targeted for it.
And do you think that, some of this racist language that we're hearing more and more, do you think it's almost becoming normalised in the mainstream media here in the UK?
Normalised, absolutely. I think you can see it in the headlines sometimes that the news and media decides to put out. You can see it in the pictures. Even now when they talk about COVID, you will still see the pictures are usually of people of Chinese descent or people who are East Asian looking to signify COVID. So there's always that unconscious link between, say, Chinese people or East Asian people and COVID, even despite, the fact that has been thoroughly debunked as a misnomer.
And do you think that xenophobia tends to be a little bit underreported compared to Islamophobia and anti-Semitism here?
I think obviously all forms of racism need to be addressed and deserve to be addressed. I do feel like there is a lack of understanding on xenophobia, and so people don't actually appreciate that it exists or even realizes that it takes on quite insidious forms that aren't necessarily overt or explicit. And so, yes, I do believe it gets underreported.
Has there been a marked rise in anti-Asian sentiments and hate, especially since the pandemic?
Yes. When the pandemic started, the hate speech surged 300%. So it has, yeah.
And can you give me some examples of the type of racism that people have suffered?
The type of daily life is like verbal. People suddenly have this license or they have the right. They can just abuse people verbally on the train, public transportation, especially when you're on your own, and then you get physical attack. And it's not just like in poor area in everywhere. In Cambridge, we had a lecturer in Cambridge got beaten up.